How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. What is up, my nerds? How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys had a wonderful start to a beautiful week. A nice flat week on the market. Earnings, tons of earnings coming up ahead for us this week, with still some big heavy hitting names like Meta, Microsoft coming up ahead. Apple, can't forget about Apple, so still very big earnings week. Today was somewhat slow if you ask me. But there were still trades, right? There were still trades. Market gave you an opportunity to get short if you were looking for that, and then it gave you an opportunity to get long also. So trades were there. I had a good green day. My month is back to the green side. I think that actually happened on Friday. Obviously, since I don't stream on Friday, you don't know that happened. So I turned my month back to green on Friday. Another green day today. So just padding to the portfolio, I guess, at this point, or to the bank account at this point. But nothing too special for me in terms of a day trade I saw. Really, I didn't really see too many opportunities out there, and the ones that I did see, I feel like I tried to take the most advantage that I could out of it. One of them being a small cap stock, GLMD. They announced that they are going to get into the semaglutide business, which is basically the weight loss, obesity, what's that, the disease, damn it, I can't think of it. What is it when people are obese? What is it called? I forget. God damn it. Or not when they're obese, but what is it, the disease called? I can't think of it. But basically to help battle that diabetes. There you go. Diabetes to help people with diabetes, to help people with weight loss. They're gonna get into that business, giving the stock a pop. Anorexia, no. Diabetes is what I was thinking about. The stock makes a pop in the pre-market and then sells off later on, giving you a good opportunity right off the open. It had this little pre-market low area getting short, and then adding on the opening range break low. Possibly could have added this position a little bit later. That was a little too quick of an entry. But I was okay with risking, all the way back up here on the full position anyway, so I'm not, I wasn't too worried about it. But just to paint the chart better and to make the chart look better, I could have entered on the pops instead of looking for the breakdown. It worked out, which is great, but just could have traded this way better if you ask me. The first trade that I got in, I got stopped out. That was not really necessary, but I got right back in, added, and then managed to pretty much try to hold it for the whole day. But I can't say that I did that because it does go much lower, and sadly I'm not there to participate in it. However, this is probably a new milestone for me to be able to have as many shares as I did, and also be able to hold the position as long as I did. That's a kind of a new milestone for me, honestly. So I'm pretty happy with how I traded this, but obviously could do a lot better always, right? Could do a lot better always, and gotta put that in my notes when I'm doing my review. So my most profitable name today, GLMD. My least profitable name, aka my biggest loser, on the day, PONY. Pony AI announces, I guess on Thursday, not really Friday, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday, that they're a little bit closer to profitability or something along those words. The stock pops up to this $9.70, $10 area on Thursday. Today makes a straight climb into that area and then starts to have a little bit of a stall out in front of that $10. So I figured, okay, nice and even dollars, even $10 area. If it's stalling in front of 10, potentially I could get short, not risk too much higher above 10. When it broke below that range low, I got added to that short, but then immediately pops to 10 and I get stopped out. This is a 1 minute chart. You can see how the minute that I enter, it was about 1 minute and a minute and a half. You had about, I guess, 1.5 minutes after the entry to really figure out if you still wanted to hold the trade or not. So I could have basically cut the trade a little bit quicker, but I waited for the stop. The stop got triggered later on the 1 minute. It's not really ideal to look for 1 minute patterns ever, right? But on the 1 minute here, it looked like a little head and shoulders. You broke 10, you got back under 10, and now you're struggling around 10. So I figured maybe there's like one more attempt over here. And, I gave it that one more shot. Didn't work out. Complete loss on that trade. Later on in the day, the stock makes that run into 1150 area. Pulls back, but you can see how the previous resistance was turning into some sort of a support. So I try a long, but that long immediately gets stuffed back down and doesn't have much momentum behind it. So that I also take for a nice little loss on that one, and then book my biggest loser on the day today. Not really too much of a loser, but my biggest loser, something that potentially could have been avoided, are these longs. I think the short, I'm okay with the way I traded it. The second short potentially not worth attempting because it was too minute of a pattern, too 1 minute of a pattern, and clearly the stock is holding above the Thursday's level. If you're looking at the tape, the buyers, everything coming in above the Thursday's level, and right here actually you get a little buy opportunity when it breaks that level low. Some stops probably get triggered, but no more momentum to the downside, and then immediately pop right back up. So that was potentially where you could have gone long, but this long over here was easily avoidable, and this second short was easily avoidable. The first short, I'm okay with taking that. So a couple pointers about how potentially could have traded that one better. Tesla, I think my manager took this very similar long too. This is TSLL. But my manager took the very similar long over here. I think a lot of other people I know on Twitter also took a lot of similar long. But one person that I follow, he actually flipped short. So, you know, if the long is wrong, get short, baby. But that's something that I didn't do, sadly, and missed out on a big move to the downside on Tesla. Potentially could have looked for a short somewhere here as the market was going lower. I think at this point, actually, I short Nvidia, which is right here, right there. So at that point of the day, I actually short Nvidia, and I figure, you know, don't short Tesla maybe, because Tesla is a little bit stronger. It's actually positive on the day at this point of time still, whereas Nvidia at that point in time was negative on the day. So I figured, if market's going lower, focus on the stock that's weaker, not the one that's stronger. You might just get a little bit more juice out of it, and I guess I was right by thinking that and by focusing on this. But you would have still been able to capture on Tesla also. Very similar setup across the market, basically an opening range low breakdown, like the 10 o'clock opening range breakdown or some sort, and giving you the nice move down. I tried to capture the second leg over here by taking this little range breakdown, but that second leg doesn't really have too much of a move for me when I was looking for it. So that ended up being just a very quick scalp over there, but profitable trade. Nvidia, Tesla tried a short in this area, but when that short basically ended up getting stopped out, I went over to TSLL and I basically flipped long on Tesla short. So I was short in this area on Tesla, but what I should have done potentially is flipped long on Tesla on itself, because market was going higher. I could have flipped long on Tesla, the risk would have been tight, and I would have been able to capture potentially a much bigger day today than I would have with how I traded TSLL. I didn't calculate the size properly, so basically undersized for this long and not able to hold for the whole move also, hence not able to really get the biggest juice potential from this trade that I could have. And also just trade the damn big name itself. Stop being a baby, right? You have this breakout, you have this little hold area, you're basically risking about $1. If it gets back below 277, chances are it's not breaking above 278 again, and chances are market's probably rejecting and pushing back down also. But since all things aligned, market's going higher, Tesla is now pushing above 278, it never really pushed back below 277, and you could have just trailed the stock all the way up to 285. Well, I don't even know what it went into the close and so on. So monster long over there, completely missed out on that opportunity because I chose to trade that on TSLL instead of trading that on TSLA. That was basically a decision from you know, fear of giving back my day, fear of ending my day red. So that made me you know, not really get the biggest juice out of that. Next time, I know I keep saying next time, but I really need to just focus on the big name itself. And even if I'm giving like a D level, C level risk on that trade, that still doesn't turn my day red, and I still am able to turn a C level trade into what could have been, you know, a much bigger winner than what I did with TSLL. At the end of the day, what I did with TSLL is fine, but I need to you know, calculate the appropriate size that I would have needed to take on that name in regards to match up with the Tesla position. So you got to calculate the ranges, calculate what X amount of dollar risk on Tesla size equals to TSLL size, and I miscalculated that, and hence poorly executed on that trade over there. However, green day, green month, we take it and we go to the next day. We go to the next day and prepare for tomorrow. So that's basically my trades on the day. Quickly want to show you guys a senator, a U.S. senator, reintroduced the bill today to ban lawmakers from trading stocks. The bill is called Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investment Act, also known as the Pelosi Act for short. So I'm not sure this one actually goes through, but this one is it's not. It's hilarious to see someone actually. This is from I remember this act in 2023. I'll be honest with you, but it's good to see this act coming back, and we'll see if this one actually passes now, because the Democrats are no longer in power, right? Also, it's a Canadian voting day, so if you are in Canada, if you haven't voted yet, go vote. That being said, I probably should not talk about it any further. But we got Pelosi Act over here coming into play. Will be interesting to see if that actually goes through. Couple stocks that we might pick from today's from today. Thanks to Center Point, Pony, CLBR, the stock went up. I think this one's a reverse SPAC merger, and it is going to combine with the company named as Grab a Gun, and they appointed, what an amazing name, Grab a Gun. They appointed Donald Trump Jr. on their chairman, on their board, so the stock went crazy. So let's actually go see what Grab a Gun is about. They sell guns? Okay. Do you guys know what Grab a Gun is, guys? If you guys know what Grab a Gun is, please do let me know. Yes, I'm 18 years old. No thanks, I'm not giving my ID. So it is what? You can buy a Smith & that weapons are that cheap, dude? This is how uneducated I am about the cost of weapons, but also so educated about just shooting games in general, because I play so many of them. But I am so uneducated about the cost of weapons. I thought, like, a pistol would cost at least $1,000. You can, what is this, a $99 8.5 inch barrel, 4 rounds? That's peanuts. That costs nothing. That gun looks pretty damn cool. Doge with Donald Trump. Yes. Yes. $600 for that one. Alright. With an optic, that's $1,666.99. Smith & Wesson revolver. I mean, that's a funny price right there. $9,999. Mossberg, okay. I've seen that one in video games. Okay, we've seen that one before. Glock, okay. I mean, now I'm just window shopping for weapons, but I'm pretty shocked that these are so cheap. Especially that $99 weapon right there. Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous. Is this a toy weapon? It's not. Chambered in a versatile 12 gauge shotgun. Isn't this the same one that Terminator uses in the movie? Anyways, you guys get the idea, right? So, Grab a Gun, legitimate company, reverse SPAC mergering through CLBR. So CLBR making a little bit of a pop-up. I actually have 0 names on my watch list for tomorrow right now. So we get to create the watch list together. So Pony, CLBR, ABBV. This one's I'm a little upset with myself because I created a game plan. Here, I'll show you exactly. So I created a game plan for ABBV. If the stock is holding above 189, 190, basically look long. And what does the stock do? It gets right back into that 189 area today, and boom, launches. No, that's not today. Right here. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Might have to turn off some of my indicators for you guys to actually see the charts, because this looks absolutely maniac level right now. So let's do that. Turn that off. Turn that off. Alright, that looks better. So you can see how it pops off the open, pulls back into last week's high, basically Friday's high, yesterday's high, bounces right off today's open, price, bounces right off the 21 EMA, and then right here as the wedge cracks and we get that breakout. That is a beautiful spot to get long, and I was too busy just not trading anything at that point. That was very upsetting to miss out on this trade. I did look at it off the open. I was interested about looking for a long right here in this area, but I noticed that at that time the market was actually looking bearish, so I said no more longs. I'm gonna stay away from the long idea, and that kept me away from ABBV. But what I usually do is I cycle through all the names in my watch list to see how they're doing, if there's anything that's setting up, and I did not, cycle through them today. I was being a little lazy and missed out on a big move over here. So sometimes being at the chair pays, but sometimes not being attentive at the chair doesn't pay, right? So gotta be ready. I was too busy watching industry, the TV show, which is actually pretty good. If you're a trader, you might like the TV show industry, but the season 1 is just way too much, X-rated scenes in there. Just way too much X-rated scenes, but the show's not bad. All right, GILD up 3% on a no known catalyst. Let's go see what GILD looks like on the daily chart real quick. That doesn't seem too exciting for me as a day trade. CL Colgate, I know they reported earnings, I think maybe Friday pre-market, and then today they dropped to the downside after a rating cut. So JP Morgan maintaining an overweight rating, maybe not a rating cut, but just and they raised the price target, but however stock moving to the downside 3% nevertheless, so pretty much negating the earnings pop, I guess, but not sure a stock that I want to put on my report. SWTX up 3% despite Barclays downgrading the stock to equal weight and lowering its price target to 47. That's because SWTX is pretty sure a buyout stock, so this one's getting bought out for about $47 or so, and that's why it popped up. So your downgrade doesn't mean jack all anymore, because the stock is getting bought out at $47, oh, they're downgrading it to 47, which is the buyout price. So that's basically that's, never mind, move on. ADMA up 12% after the company announced FDA approval of its okay, up 12%. Let's go. What's the chart look like, baby girl? Oh, okay, nice little gap up. Is that the all-time? That is the all-time. Okay, pretty interesting when stocks are making all-time high, when not too long ago, people were worried about what's going on in the market. Are we looking at a bearish market and so on? Couple YouTube videos that I actually watched. Let me see if I can open this video. Open link. There we go. Or not video, the image. A couple YouTube videos that I actually watched. One of them being Revere Asset Management. These guys are amazing. They have great content. You should go check them out. They've talked about 9 steps from where the market could be officially coined as a back to the bull market after somewhat bottoming out, and that would be having to go through these 9 key technical metrics. So regaining the 8 EMA, 21 EMA, whatever that is, not smart enough to know what those are, but 9 steps over here that the market will have to go through to then you can say, okay, we're kickstarting the bull market again. And if you look at it, reclaiming some of these levels over here is actually fairly bullish. Now, if you ask me, only thing left is the 200-day moving average, and I'm hoping that is somewhere here. It is. So 9th step is the 200-day moving average. So at that point, that is bull market back on, and I'm kind of only looking at that, but they're adding other metrics over here to kind of look at the bigger picture, I guess. But that's the last step, right? Final step, final nail in the coffin that will say that this was just a blip on the radar. You basically moved right back into the August recession lows. We had the Trump tariff recession, the Trump tariff. Can we have a TTT? Trump tariff terror. we had the Trump tariff terror move to the downside, and then that blip just got immediately corrected as you know, some of the tensions got erased. China potentially making deals, or Trump possibly you know, going back on what he was gonna do to China and so on. Who knows what's gonna happen, right? But if that doesn't happen, then we potentially move right back to the downside, where Trump tariff terror just happens to you know, have a nice bounce, but it is now on its leg number 2. We still have about, what, 30 more days until that, maybe 60 more days until that 90-day extension period. So still got some time left to see how those things actually play out. But so far, buyers are coming in, and that's basically what you want to see if you are bullish. Where were we? Nvidia down 2% after indicating that Chinese Huawei Technologies have developed an AI chip to challenge the company, but pretty sure Huawei is banned in what's it called, in America, right? Huawei is, I'm pretty sure, is banned in America. You can't buy Huawei phones because they think it's a Chinese military spy ops plan and so on. And I'm pretty sure they won't be able to buy them their chips either. So Nvidia is, I guess, landlocked in that case. But other countries will be the question. Now, if Huawei offers cheaper chips, you know, Tesla EV cars, for example, BYD offers some really cheap cars. How is Tesla going to compete with that? Probably no chance. Same way, if China's Huawei comes out with cheaper AI chips, how are some of the other countries going to say, or why would some of the other countries, you know, rather go with Nvidia than Huawei if the performance and metrics and all things are same? I'm not saying it is, but what if it actually ends up being that way? So overall, not a good news. Some competition for Nvidia into the space. Groupon down 9% as no specific catalyst news. Groupon, eh? I'm pretty sure it's like a dollar name. What is Groupon at? $12. That's a pretty big move down on some volume also. Rejecting off of some resistance areas. Looked like it was about to break out, but complete reject over there. But I'm not sure I'm even interested in a trade on this. It is much higher price than I thought. It is at a $19 price point. But yeah, I'm not sure I'll be putting this one on the watch list for tomorrow. Let's actually go through some of the stocks that I had on my watch list from yesterday and see if there are reasons to potentially add these names to my list for tomorrow. ABBV, maybe. T-Mobile, what did you do today? You had a nice little pop, and you are rejecting exactly where I want you to. That is so cool to see. So cool to see. Okay, let me quickly turn on this marker. I want to see what that price was. 237.22, and today's high was 237.32. That's so cool to see, right, Dieter? And I'll probably move that marker here. So 200-day moving average, potential support coming in this area. We'll see if T-Mobile has some support. Not sure if I'm gonna continue watching this. IBM also played out exactly as I wanted it to. Look at this notes over here. Possible pop above 233.50. If stock can stay firm above 233.50, look long. What does it do? Stays firm above 233.50, somewhere in this area. It kind of stays firm around 233, 233.50, and then goes right back up. So IBM, not sure I'm gonna trade it tomorrow like I didn't trade it today. Volume dying down, boomer name, you know, it is in that AI basket, it is in that technology basket. But if I want to trade technology, if I want to trade AI, why wouldn't I just go to the ones that are, you know, having some big ranges, that are super stocks that have 300 million shares traded, and basically follow the market, which makes my life even easier as a day trader. So I'm not sure IBM is the one to really focus on. Boeing making another pop right here, and trying to go higher. You know, it's trying to strap on its engines. the ones that keep making the actual planes fall out of sky, the stock is strapping on those engines and trying to reclaim some of these share prices. But you know, it's yet to test one of these previous resistances here around February or so. So waiting a little bit to see if this area comes into play. If it does, I'm mainly looking short from that pop. If it gets into this area tomorrow, but if it grinds into it slowly, then I'm not that interested for a short. So I want to see the stock potentially gapping up again and showing me some sort of a struggle around 188.50 to 190 and give me good short setup. So that's kind of the only way really I'm looking for a short over there on Boeing. Let me quickly put that in my notes. If stock can gap up into 188.50/190 area and show sellers could get short. So that's basically what I'm looking for. My inflection is 190. Is it popping into 190 and is it staying below it? 188.66 was that price. So I'm just gonna put that one on there, and also 190. So Boeing, pretty sure this was a start from the earnings move. Yes, so an earnings move Kickstarter, and then continuing ever since. Right now it's like what, day 3 today? Pretty sure today's day 3. No, it says day 4. So earnings day 4. There's no really earnings day 5, but the only way this name gets interesting for me is if it can gap up into resistance and then struggle a little bit. A couple other stocks that were on my watch list for today that I didn't really bother to even take a look at are earnings names. DPZ and MGM. Didn't even bother looking at these ones. Ooh, you guys can't see that. Let's go away from that one. DPZ did gap or drop lower in pre-market, but then popped higher and then I guess eventually go higher. Not too interested in this. But if I look at the daily chart, DPZ actually looks like it's getting ready for a potential, you know, breakout. So maybe do be interested on this one, especially if it can get above that 500 area. Oh boy, I mean, if it does get above 500 tomorrow, that'd be insane. But I don't think it does. I absolutely don't think it does tomorrow. But never hurts to be ready, right? Never hurts to be ready. Inflection level 500, resistance 500. Right now the stock is closed at, I think, well, 490. At a quick glance, I saw 490. If stock can get above 500 and show support above it, should be long. Okay, so DPZ, Domino's Pizza. I didn't even read the report, but the chart above 500 looks like a long to me. It just doesn't make sense to fight the short above 500. If it goes into 500 and struggles around that area, then you know, could be some short opportunities at that point. MGM, not gonna put that one on the watch list at all, and from there on out it's basically the usual suspects. So I guess I can now throw in all the stocks that I usually like to take a look at. Palantir, SMCI. Not sure if SMCI is even worth keeping an eye on anymore. Yeah, SMCI goes out. We're gonna put in the cryptocurrency name, so that's going to be MSTR, Coinbase, Hood, IBIT. A couple other names, maybe. What names do I want to see? Let's quickly go check out how DJT did today. DJT. Ooh, that could break down and start opening up some room to the downside again after rejecting the 200-day moving average, or it can get above the 200-day moving average and start acting some wild moves again. So DJT potentially something to keep an eye on. What was today's low? 25, 22. So would like some volume on this name. But you know, doesn't hurt to keep an eye on it. DJT, I said Robinhood, which is already on my list. Uber, nah. We're gonna skip on Uber. CEP, Can't forget CEP. That's the one that needs to be on the list for sure, because if that opens up the room to the downside, I want to be ready for the shorts over there. GLD possibly worth keeping an eye on. SMMT, GLD, Spotify, SMMT. I guess it still had decent volume today, but going right back into these ranges, yeah, I'm probably not caring about SMMT. MRK looks like it wants to go higher. GLD, always worth keeping an eye on GLD, but this is insane. Gold is getting ready to go up again. Gold is actually getting ready to go up again. Wow. Gold is unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. If you have gold right now, you are loving it. All right, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Google. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's the large cap 7 right there. NFLX is something that I also might not want to ignore. NFXL is the one I potentially want to keep an eye on, but damn, no freaking volume at all. Like that's the shitty part about this one. No volume at all. It's like 300,000 shares. Come on, dude. What are we gonna do with this name? No volume, but you know, if Netflix is on your watch list, then potentially doesn't hurt to look for a long on this very illiquid name. Might as well just go trade Netflix, honestly. Okay. And I think right here the end is S&P 500, QQQ, IWM. That's it. So a couple stocks to quickly put in my notes. I guess we talked about most of these names as we were scanning for them. Pony did get higher than it was Friday? Huh. I thought it was... Okay, I was wrong. So it did get up to the Friday high. I thought Friday high was actually Thursday, so I was wrong. I remember the picture. Anyways, it's because I keep looking at it on the hourly chart here, and I thought this was Thursday, but no, that was Friday. I got a little confused over there. Anyways, gold, sorry, not gold, Pony. If you look at this one on the daily chart, right into the 15-day moving average, getting a little crazy to the upside. It's maybe, you know, it's not extended yet. It's got more room to the upside for sure. I'm not sure if the short float is high, so let me quickly go check that one. What's the short float on this? Only 1.87 short float, which is, I'm pretty surprised by seeing that, honestly. 2 billion market cap, 2.7 billion market cap, and 204 million shares on Pony AI. This is even the right company, dude. It is Pony AI ADR, Chinese company, also in California. So I mean, they're autonomous AI driving company. I mean, you make the bet. There could be that some of this is coming from the Tesla FSD momentum. Some of this is coming from their own news catalyst. They could potentially do a stock offering. Who knows? But right now, the stock wants to potentially get above its IPO day low, which is around $12. So if it does get above 12, you might want to be careful. Look, fighting for the short like the way I did today. So tomorrow, Pony above 12, above 11 will be something to keep an eye out for. So that IPO low right there was 11.95. I'm just gonna say 12. God damn it! Why even bother? Just say 12. So getting above 12 would be, you know, a good opportunity to look for the long on this name. CLBR. This is as I said, a reverse SPAC merger name. Previously did make a move on you know, potentially the same sort of a news and catalyst, and you can see how the stock behaved over here. I'm just gonna quickly go mark up this little high and see if it does come back into play today, making its round 2, I guess, from, I guess if you count this one as round 1 and this is round 2, making its round 2 on the news. Let's see if it's actually able to push back into those $16 highs or so. If it does, then I think looking short would be fun for this one for sure. But at the moment, if it does give me a dip buy opportunity because of the news catalyst, you know, I think gun, what was it again? Gun to grab a gun. Grab a gun does sound like somewhat of a legitimate company, and you know, the Donald Trump Jr. news is absolutely BS if you ask me, but it is something to worth keeping an eye on if you ask me for a trade. So either it goes to 16 into pre-market and then it stalls out over there, or it gives us a dip opportunity to look long. Ideally, the stock never gets below 10 because it's a reverse back merger. So that's what bulls are playing for. You're gonna see a lot of people buying the dip into $10, and you know, you're gonna see the $10 level holding for the most part until the merger goes through. So let's see if it actually plays out that way. Michael Noss issued a sell on gold today. I almost fell out of my bed when I heard that. Wow, okay, Michael Noss, we'll see how that happens. And he was adamant. Both of you can't be right. I mean, I didn't say long. I'm just saying that looks pretty bullish, right? I'm just reading the technical chart. I have no opinion. If you ask me, that is, you know, crazy prices for gold at the moment. But you know, prices can get always crazier. Things can get more irrational, and they will always be more irrational longer than we can all stay solvent. So don't fight the trend. The trend is clearly to the upside on gold. And if you have a gold bullion, is that what it's called? A gold bar sitting at home or in a bank or in a wall somewhere, you're loving the price of gold. But if you don't have that, then maybe you have gold shares and you're loving the price of your gold shares. But if you don't have either, then your name is TraderPrad and you're broke and you're upset with life. Sag. Don't have gold, baby. Don't have gold. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to buy gold at like what? 1994. Imagine if you bought gold in 1994 when I was born. You didn't even exist. Gold ETF didn't even exist in 1994. All right, so never mind. I thought it would exist. Maybe gold futures existed when I was that young, right? We'll see. I am bullish on gold, and Michael Noss is the devil. I guess you're saying devil because bearish. All right, let's go down the watch list here. ABBV, not really as bullish on not bullish is the wrong word, sorry. Not really as high priority of a name tomorrow, to be honest, but the idea is still the same. If it gives you a dip into 190 and stays above 190, I think looking long doesn't hurt on this position, on the stock, sorry, on the symbol. So we'll add it to mid-tier priority, but that's going to be like the defense point right there. So it's got to hold 188 to 190 area, ideally 190. If 190 doesn't show me support, then I might just back out on this name completely. Palantir, you know, another day to the upside. It did look a little weak with the rest of the market, but when the market started bouncing, you can see how Palantir really got bought right back up. So it's on a trend at the moment. It is on a higher high, higher low trend. Previous days lows have yet to be broken, so it's on a trend. And when something's this strong, you really don't want to be fighting it short. Let it pop up, let it exhaust, let it give you some sort of a capitulation to the upside. Let it go test all-time highs before you really look for some sort of a swing short. As for a day trade, Palantir is just one of those one of those just beta names that moves with the market overall. So if the market's going short, you can potentially look short on Palantir too, but just be careful because right now it's got some real bullish power and momentum behind it, so you don't want to be fighting that too long also. In terms of going long Palantir, just buy the dip. Right, wait for today's VWAP. Wait for the market to show you some sort of a bottoming intraday, and then you can just buy the dip on Palantir and then, you know, enjoy the ride back up. But if Palantir starts to look weak at previous day's low, so tomorrow would be today's low, and the next day and so on. If Palantir starts to look weak at previous day's low, that's when characteristics might be changing a little bit, and you might see some profit taking coming in as you know, I know a lot of bulls and swing traders, millionaires, who are long Palantir at the moment, and they are just trailing previous day's lows, previous day's lows, previous day's lows. So once the previous day low breaks, you're going to see some good volume coming in on the stock to the downside. So I want to be able to capitalize on that, but I also want to capitalize on every single dip. So no bias at all. Just watching the stock. I think yesterday in my notes I have the same thing. No bias, just follow the trend. Just flow with the water, right? Be water, like Bruce Lee says, and flow wherever water goes. No biases at all on that name. MicroStrategy. I have my biases, but once again, similar idea. Be like water, go with the flow. I'm always tracking what Bitcoin's doing when I'm trading these names. Bitcoin right now is looking like a beautiful flag on the daily chart. Usually when the 9 EMA it starts to get at the low of the ranges of any instrument, that's usually when they start breaking out from the range high and then going for another leg higher, and vice versa for the downside. So right here would be interesting to see if that's exactly what's going to happen with Bitcoin. And obviously if Bitcoin does that, you got some opportunities to take advantage over at IBIT, at MSTR, even Robinhood. Robinhood potentially would get back again above 50. That's going to be an inflection level right there, and you get to potentially look for some trades. But all of that would require, you know, Bitcoin to really start breaking out above 95 and then pushing much higher. You want to see 97, you want to see it 100,000 and much higher. At that point, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, IBIT, all of these really kickstart into a much higher priority. They put themselves into much higher priority for me as a day trade at that point. 25, 40, what am I doing? 25, 44, let's just say 25, because that's what today's low was, right? 25, 22, let's just say 25. Potential downside opening up on DJT if we do get below 25, but you know, pop into 27 is also worth keeping an eye out for. So we got a range forming over here on DJT. Volume is dying down drastically, but still only 3 million shares on a $25 name. That's probably going to be so spready. I'm not even sure I'm going to be focusing on that one in that case, because if I do want to care about a stock trading that low volume, I might as well go to CEP, because there might be actual juice to the downside if it does get below previous day's lows and look weak under. So not really going to even focus on DJT probably. I'll put it as a blue color just so you know, it keeps me away from that name. Unless I really need to keep an eye on it. We're gonna keep that over there. Okay, CEP. So this one will be you know, some small cap name going crazy, parabolic, so potential backside shorts. Today is the first red day, is it? So today would be the first red day, I guess. And if we do start getting below some of these numbers that I have marked up, I think that's $29, so basically 29. Today's low is 28.81, so once again 29. If the stock gets below 29 and 30 and stays weak under it, I think we're all gonna open some backside for sure. So keeping an eye on CEP, that one's going to be pretty high priority. Thankfully the shorts are very cheap on that name, baby, so gotta love that. Gold, mentioned this one very quickly. Potential you know, range over here forming, so it could just be back and forth until we break down like Michael Nasa expecting it, or we could just go back and forth and then break out to the upside, or we could just break out to the upside, right? So we'll see what happens. This is fairly bullish over here at the moment for me, but I'm interested to see what Michael Nas saw, that he called out the bearish move. Did I say bearish? I'm pretty bullish on gold based on this, if you ask me, but I'm pretty interested to see what Michael Nas saw that made him bearish on this one. So gold, Nvidia, you know, yes, the Huawei news is bearish, sure, but really, like, you know, it'll take a lot for Huawei to compete with Nvidia, if you ask me. So let's see when they actually show up with something. Until then, I'm not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Nvidia is still something to keep an eye on for the market name. I think, you know, same idea as Palantir. Tesla potentially breaking out. This is actually good for Tesla, right? It pulled back and then it popped back up, so this is actually very good for Tesla, if you ask me, because now if it actually gets above the 290 area, I don't think it stops at 300. But yesterday, if it popped above 290 and then ran into 300 today, and you know, went to 300 and tried to run above 300 today, I don't think it would have been possible for the stocks, because you know, from where it came from, it was at 229 just last week, and now we're at 300. That's an insane run up on Tesla for how short of a time period it was. So I would see some profit taking coming in. I would be interested in some shorts, but now, given this back and forth, I'm more interested in a long, especially above this 200-day moving average. So if we do punch above this 295, which was today's high, I think, yes, 295, I think 294.86 was actually today's high, but 295 and any staying power above 295 on Tesla would make it the highest priority trade tomorrow for me, and possibly ignoring every other name on the day completely. So if we get above 295 in pre-market or any time throughout the day, the market's looking bullish, everything, all the stars are aligning, even the other large cap stocks are also bullish on the day. There's, you know, probably going to risk everything on this, risk getting fired on this. That's a joke, you know, but going to give the stock quite a bit of a risk if it's actually showing me that bullish tendencies above the 200-day. So for sure, and high priority name over there. Amazon, Meta, Google, they're all on the watch list, as I, you know, like to keep an eye on all the large cap stocks. I like to see what they're doing, how they're moving in relationship to each other, in relationship to the market, and then make my judgments as to how the trade should be structured on either Nvidia or Tesla, because that's where I end up making my battleground. I pick my battleground to be Nvidia and Tesla, but I still need to see how the rest of the basket of stocks are doing. At the moment, I don't really see too many trades on them, but just an idea for you guys how I situate myself on a trade on these two names. So you might want to be doing something similar over there if you want to make a buck or two. But that is basically the important stocks for tomorrow. Hopefully another small cap name in pre-market that lights up on my scanner that I could be focused on, and if that small cap name you know, gives me a good setup, I'll potentially focus on that off the open, and then later on these will be the high focus priority names potentially after 10 o'clock and so on. I'm saying again, Tesla 295, above 295 after 10 o'clock, and looking strong above 295 after 10 o'clock. I am smashing the long on this name, and that right there is the watch list for tomorrow. Prad, tomorrow morning is a big day. Can you guess why? Not sure. What? Pfizer's reporting earnings? Okay, that makes sense. Spotify's actually reporting earnings. Oh boy, boy, boy. So that is actually something that you for sure want to make sure you put on your watch list. I usually map out the names that you know, that report earnings the next day, but I didn't apparently today, so that's pretty bad from me. Let me quickly do that. SoFi, I don't really trade SoFi because I own SoFi. That's the only position I own currently, but I don't really trade SoFi. It's kind of a shitty day trade if you ask me. SoFi, PayPal, UPS. Wow, there's actually some really good names reporting earnings tomorrow. UPS, JetBlue, who cares? Coca-Cola, maybe. Pfizer, maybe. We'll throw that in here. PFE. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, RCL. Spotify was the one next after that. And then Altria, MO. Oh my goodness. Look how many names I just had to add to my watch list. And we didn't even talk about FFIV or waste management from today's watch list. Because I didn't look at the watch list at all, or the earnings board at all. So let me quickly look at... No. That'll give me a heart attack. Waste management, what did you do in the after hours? Nothing burger. FFIV, what did you do in the after hours? A little bit of back and forth, but pretty much nothing burger. And what does your daily chart look like? I mean, not... Nah, it looks pretty lame to me, but still above the 200-day moving average. So if the earnings move actually gets the stock above 270 or whatever, I think 270 is a pretty simple inflection point. So if the stock can get above 270 and stay above 270 tomorrow after the earnings report, I don't think fighting a short on that one would be a smart option at all. So let me just quickly throw in FFIV, and I'm most likely going to ignore waste management for sure. But that is the watch list for tomorrow. So 270 inflection level. If it does reclaim 270, I am not looking for a short. I would love to look for a long, but need to read the report too. So I'll do that off stream because I am running out of time here. It's almost 9 o'clock. I gotta do the dishes. I gotta review my own trades. I gotta do some journaling after. So I'm gonna get off stream and you know, do all that, and then potentially set up for some of these earnings names. My dog whining outside my door. FFIV, what is your PE ratio? 26. Okay, but yeah, 270. I think we gotta move above on this one. Pfizer, MO, we got a bunch of other names over here to keep an eye on. Pfizer chart looks good for a potential breakout. MO, cigarette maker, pretty sure cigarette maker. We'll see if this one comes into play. And then we got a couple other stocks. UPS, I know UPS was beat down. So UPS, PayPal, PYPL, that one's a good name to trade usually on day trades. And Spotify recently announced the good news for themselves, but that news is not really going to be in this earnings report, so that's going to take some time. But the idea is, you know, they recently announced some good news, so we'll see if the earnings report has more good news to it to add fuel to the fire, and Spotify starts taking out some all-time highs and so on. RCL, the last one, not as exciting of a chart as some of the other ones, and the last one, SoFi, also not as exciting of a chart as some of the other ones, but I am, as an investor, very happy to see SoFi above the 200-day moving average. Clap, 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 clap. All right. What is on the econ board and the IPO calendar? Econ board showing us tomorrow we got any 3-star events. We got consumer confidence at 10 o'clock, Joel's job openings at 10 o'clock. So those are the only 3-star events. But besides that, you got a couple other events over here. Atlanta Fed GDP number at 10 o'clock, S&P composite, HPI composite at 9 o'clock. Retail inventories for auto at 8:30, and trades balance for March at 8:30. So those are some of the numbers potentially to keep an eye out for. The 3-star, always something to keep an eye out for because that could move the market. I think last time the Jolts number actually did move the market. And for the IPO calendar, we do see some names here for tomorrow. God damn it, why you gotta make my life so hard? Oh, thankfully, we're not gonna have to bother with these names at all. These are reverse SPAC merger names, so I don't really care what happens when they IPO. We already have a reverse SPAC merger on the watch list that's gonna move around, so that's the only one that I care about. The other two over here that are IPOing, not interested. Digital asset acquisition, that's so close to DWAC. I wonder if this is actually the same DWAC, guys. Yeah, you're telling me this is not DWAC, guys? Who was the guy who filed the DWAC? Was it CEO? Was it CEO? Right here. Okay. Alright, maybe it's not, but it seems pretty close. I guess it's just the digital part. But hey, we already have one on our board, and I'm gonna leave it on that. My dog is whining outside. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna see why he's crying. He probably needs to go pee, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out with me as always. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night. Please do go check out the links below in the description to get discounts from my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Idea, TraderSync, and who's the last one? Damn it, it's not a good look. But all the links are down below. I'm just, my thoughts are you know, towards my dog right now, so I'm gonna peace out. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, TraderSync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.